It's time for your Low Country real estate market update. It's the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show. Brian is one of the top 1% real estate agents in Charleston. Find him online at listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Or call him at 843-345-1273. Now, broadcasting from the WTMA studios, here's your host, Brian Beatty.
Good morning, Charleston, and welcome to the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. I'm your host, Brian Beatty. Thanks for joining me this morning. If this is your first time tuning into the program, this is where we talk about all things housing here in the Low Country. I've been in the top 1% of agents here since 2009. I sell over 100 homes a year, and I use that experience and that market knowledge to apply it to us here in the Low Country so that if you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate, or if you just like to stay up to date with what's going on in housing, this is the show for you. So if at any point in time you'd like to contact me, maybe you have a real estate question, whether it's general knowledge or you're considering buying, selling, or investing in real estate, I'd love the opportunity to help you with that. You can reach me personally at 843-345-1273. Again, that's 843-345-1273. Or you can go to my website, listingsincharleston.com. And on that website, you can look at everything I have for sale, everything I've sold, search the MLS, everything for sale in the Tri-County area is available on that website. And if you're thinking about selling your house, click on the Sell Your Home tab. You can learn more about what I do to market my properties for sale, the success we've had with that. And you can also learn more about my 59-day home sale guarantee, which very simply states that I will sell your home in 59 days or less, or I'll sell it for half my commission. So listingsincharleston.com is the website to go to if you'd like to contact me for anything real estate related. So let me tell you what I have planned over the next hour. I'm going to cover a lot of ground, and I'm going to kind of shift back and forth between buyers, sellers, and investors. But what I want to talk about first is something called a boomerang buyer. A boomerang buyer is somebody that went through some sort of hardship, and they sold their home through a short sale, or they got foreclosed on, or they were declared bankrupt, or they did a deed in lieu of foreclosure. Something happened and they lost or sold their home. So I'm going to talk about how that's going to impact our market. I'm also going to talk about first-time home buyers. I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. But we're also going to talk about marketing for sold listings and how that's generating excess buyers in our market. There just aren't enough listings for all the buyers that are out there. And I'm going to share some of my personal experiences with that. We're going to talk about sellers and the behavior that they have in this market, what you should be doing, what you should be concerned about, and how you can position yourself to make sure that if you're going to sell, that you put yourself in the best position possible to get the most money possible in the shortest amount of time and with the least amount of stress. And then finally, we're going to talk about investors and investment properties and the lack thereof. So all that coming up over the next hour here on the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show. And if you have any questions for me, if you can't tune in for the full hour, feel free to contact me. I'd love to help you personally, whether it's just to impart some knowledge, answer a general knowledge question, or help you buy, sell, or invest in real estate. Again, my number is 843-345-1273, or you can go to my website and contact me that way, listingsincharleston.com. So let's start with this idea of boomerang buyers. There was a report that came out a few months ago, and it was put out by Experian, which is one of the 3 credit reporting agencies, and they said that over the next 5 years, they're expecting somewhere around 2 to 2.5 million buyers over the next 5 years to be in a position where they can now go and purchase real estate. Obviously, if you're looking at buying a home and you've had some sort of issue, you did a short sale, a deed in lieu, you got foreclosed on, you declared bankruptcy, lenders require a specific amount of time to lapse before you are then eligible again to get a mortgage. And so based on this report that they put out, they're expecting somewhere around 2.5 million buyers to enter the marketplace over the next 5 years. And if you think about it, we have, as a nation, about 5 million closings a year. So if let's just use 5 million properties a year that sell. If we know that 2.5 million buyers are going to enter our market over the next 5 years, that represents about a 20% fraction of our market that would be now looking for a new home. And so we, of course, go back to the issue that we've been talking about for years now on this program, which is available inventory. Obviously, sellers are in a great place right now. There's lack of inventory. There are more buyers than there are for listings. And that's what's creating competitive bids from buyers. In many cases, there's multiple offers on properties. We're still seeing a lot of that right now. And they're willing to pay top dollar for those properties because interest rates are still low. And if they see something that lists for sale and it's in the location they want, it's in good condition, and it's priced well, they're going to buy it. So if you're a seller, you should expect that if you do everything right and you've got a proper marketing plan implemented, you should be selling your home in about 30 days. Sometimes 60, of course, it depends on the price range and the location. But if you're a buyer out there, you're in a little bit of a tough spot because there just isn't a lot of inventory. So I want to focus for just a second on this idea of boomerang buyers and how it's going to impact our market. Again, if we're looking at 500,000 buyers entering the market over the course of the next 5 years, 500,000 buyers every year, that's obviously going to impact pricing. Of course, if we don't do something about inventory, then prices are going to continue to appreciate, and sellers are going to continue to benefit from us being in a seller's market. So let me help you apply that to Charleston. If you look at the number of properties that sold in Charleston, let me just go back a few years and I'll work our way up to where we are now. In 2011, we sold 9,400 homes in our market in the Tri-County area. In 2012, we sold 10,600. In 2013, we sold a little over 13,000 homes, and last year, we sold 14,288 homes. So obviously, you see how closings are increasing. Obviously, we've had an increase in new listings. It's not like we haven't had more listings hitting the market than we did in 2011, but it obviously impacts inventory. If you look at where we are right now as a market in the Tri-County area, we've had 12,500 closings as of the end of August. We have almost 3,000 properties under contract. So just right there at the end of August, if everything under contract were to sell, we're looking at close to 15,500 closings with 4 months worth of data left in that Tri-County area. That's a massive number of closings. That's a massive number of transactions. Now, let's look at new listings for a second. In 2013, we had 19,000 new listings hit the market. In 2014, we had 20,000 listings hit the market. And if you look at it so far this year, here's an easy way of looking at it. We've had about a 10% increase in new listings over 2014, but we've had almost a 25% increase in properties going under contract, and we've had close to a 20% increase in closings. So obviously, when you add all of those things up, that's what's creating the seller market that we're in. There just isn't enough inventory for all of the buyers out there. If you add on to that the idea that we've got boomerang buyers entering the market and first-time home buyers, then we're in a position where we need inventory in a very bad way. So if you look at the first-time home buyer segment of our market for a second, there was a report that came out right at the end of 2014 with a projection for what was going to happen this year, and they basically focused on 4 things. They said, number one, the buyers that are first-time home buyers are going to benefit from looser lending standards. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac came out with some new lending guidelines that said that you can have a 3% down payment mortgage. If you look at the Mortgage Bankers Association, they said that sales of new homes are expected to climb by more than 13% this year, and existing sales or properties that had already been built and are now reselling were expected to increase by 5%. Well, we're seeing about a 20% increase in transactions in Charleston. Obviously, those were national numbers, but they're saying looser lending standards, which I have seen, which I agree with, and it's benefiting all kinds of buyers, not just first-time home buyers. But the second thing they said was that there would be more homes to choose from. Well, that's true, but it's also not true. Yes, we've had a 10% increase in new listings this year, but again, we've had almost a 20% increase in closings. So effectively, that reduces the inventory of homes available, which again is what's driving prices up. It's what's creating those competitive bids from buyers. It's what's creating those multiple offer situations, and it's benefiting the seller. So if you're a buyer, you need to be in a position where you know what you want. You're working hand in hand with your real estate agent so that as soon as that property hits the market, you try to be the first person through the door, you make a competitive offer, and you try to do that before other people get to the table. That's where we're finding a lot of success on our team right now, is someone that's, we've already done 111 transactions this year. What we're doing is not just watching the market like a hawk, but we're also proactively trying to find listings for our buyers. So we're looking at properties that tried to sell several years ago that didn't. We're approaching those homeowners to say, hey, now that the market's gotten better and prices have increased, have you thought about selling your home in this market? And what we're finding is because of the appreciation that's occurred over the past several years, sellers are now in a position to sell their home, pay commissions, pay closing costs, pay attorney's fees, all of those things, and break even. A lot of people bought at the height of the market. And so now we're finally at a point in most areas of Charleston, not all, but in most areas of Charleston where pricing has gotten back and slightly above where they were at the height of the market several years ago. So now those listings are going to start hitting the market. We've also got new construction that's adding to the inventory. And builders are ramping up in a big way. But it's interesting if we relate it back to the first-time home buyers, because builders are doing the smart thing. They're going after the people that they know can afford properties. We're still dealing with a lot of issues in the first-time home buyer segment. We're still dealing with student debt issues. We're still dealing with wage increases and job growth. All of those things need to improve on an economic level in order for first-time home buyers to be in a position where they can save enough money and earn enough money to go out and buy their first house. One of the issues that's holding them back is the fact that we've had an incredible increase in rental rates over the past several years. I think just last year, rents increased 7% across the board in the Charleston metro area. That's a lot if you're a first-time home buyer and you're trying to save money for a down payment and you're trying to position yourself to where you have enough money coming in to comfortably afford a mortgage and then also pay for other things in life. Pay for the utilities, save money if something were to happen to the roof or the AC unit, pay for other life expenses. So we're still in a position right now where more buyers are coming to the table than we're putting new listings on the market. And so that's what I want to talk about in greater detail when I come back is what are we going to do with all of these buyers? Where are the sellers out there that want to sell but are procrastinating for whatever reason in putting their home on the market? So I'm going to speak to both groups of people when we come back. Again, if you'd like to contact me, if you're looking for a property to buy or if you have a home to sell, please contact our team. I was looking at our numbers, and we call it a pipeline review on my team. And between us and the other real estate agents that I employ, we have over 200 people that are ready, willing, and able to buy a house over the next 90 days. And that's a large number of people. So if you're thinking about selling your house, contact us. There is a high chance we might have a buyer for your house before you go through the process of putting it on the market and subjecting yourself to all of those showings, so on and so forth. So if you want to contact our team just to see if we have a buyer for you or not, give me a call personally, 843-345-1273, or go to my website, listingsincharleston.com. Stick around. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show. We'll be right back.
More stimulating talk on real estate matters with Brian Beatty next on 1250 WTMA. Now, here's more of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA.
Welcome back, Charleston, and thanks again for tuning in to the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA. I'm your host, Brian Beatty, and thanks again for tuning in. I always appreciate those that reach out to me, whether it be a general knowledge question that I can help them with, or they're considering buying, selling, or investing in real estate. I'm here to help. I'm here to impart my knowledge on you as somebody that sells over 100 homes a year and has been in the top 1% of our market since 2009. So if there's anything that I can do for you, please don't hesitate to give me a call. My number is 843-345-1273. Again, that's 843-345-1273. Or you can go to my website, listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. And you can look at everything we have for sale, everything we've sold, learn more about my team, search every property for sale in the MLS. And if you're thinking about selling your home, click on that Sell Your Home tab, and you can learn more about what we do to market our properties for sale. And you can also learn more about my 59-day home sale guarantee. So if you're selling your house, I'll sell it in 59 days or less, or I'll sell it for half my commission. So that's my commitment to you. If you're thinking about selling, again, go to listingsincharleston.com. So let me finish this conversation about buyers, boomerang buyers, first-time home buyers, and sellers, and how our market looks right now. So I was talking about the excess number of buyers that we have in our market and the lack of inventory available to them. Part of what I do on this program is I want to help you understand how real estate runs, how real estate agents actually operate in our industry. So let me explain this to you in as simple a way as I can. So let's say that you want to buy a house and you meet with an agent and you sign a buyer agency agreement, which states that that agent is going to represent you as your buyer agent. They're going to help you find a house, help you negotiate the best price and terms on the property you want to buy, and then get you through the closing process successfully. In return for that, because we're paid a commission by the seller, you agree to work with us and only us. So it's an exclusive agreement. That's what agents want you to sign when you agree to buy a house through that real estate agent. So let me explain how this works, and this is going to tie into this lack of inventory that I've been talking about so far this hour. So you meet with the buyer agent. You tell them what you're looking for. You want this price range, this number of bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, location, and amenities within the house and the development. That real estate agent, let's call them Basic Becky. Basic Becky is going to take those search parameters and they're going to input that into the MLS and they're going to save a search for you so that each time a new listing hits the market or an existing listing drops their price or makes some sort of change to their listing, then you, the buyer, are automatically going to be emailed by the MLS with those updates, new listings, and properties that drop their price. So Basic Becky, to me, represents the majority of real estate agents out there. What they're going to do is they're going to create that search for you, and then they're going to wait for you, the buyer, to contact Basic Becky to say, hey, I saw this listing. I want to go and take a look at it. That's the standard. That's the bare minimum that a buyer agent should be doing for you. Okay? They wait on you to tell them what you want to go see and when you want to go see it. Let me take that a step further. What I think buyers want, actually, let me rephrase that. What I know buyers want, because I can't tell you the number of buyers that have come to our team and said, hey, we want to work with you because of some sort of bad experience they had with their previous agent. Normally, that bad experience comes through missing out on the house that they really wanted to buy because they didn't get to the table fast enough or because they didn't make a competitive offer because the agent didn't advise them on what they needed to do to secure that contract and ultimately buy that house. So if we know that the basic thing to do is just create a search and then wait for the buyer to contact the agent, taking it a step further and being more proactive would, of course, be for the real estate agent to contact the buyer whenever they see a listing that they feel meets that buyer's needs. So imagine this. You're in a very competitive price range. Let's say you're looking for a $400,000 house in Mount Pleasant. Very, very, very competitive price range and location right now. So if a new listing hits the market and I'm working with a buyer and I see that come across the MLS, I am then going to immediately call my buyer and I'm going to say something like, hey, I just sent you a link to a property that just listed 15 minutes ago. I want you to open that link, see if it's of interest to you. And if you like it, let's meet at the property today to walk through it. That, in my mind, is what agents should be doing for their buyers. And that's what buyers want. They want their agents to be scouring the MLS to help them find the right house for them. So that's kind of the second stage. Let me tell you how I think we're different. And I would venture a guess that 98% of agents aren't doing this for their clients. This is something that I do feel sets us apart. And this is not a sales pitch. This is just what we do to help find listings for our buyers. We maintain two separate databases. Database number one is for sale by owners. Now, if you're a buyer, you should be considering for sale by owners. Most for sale by owners have a problem with pricing their home. Most of them are overpriced, but some of them are underpriced. I know because I just bought one, and my wife and daughter and I just moved into a beautiful house that we got a fantastic deal on because the for sale by owner underpriced their home, and we bought it for under that price. That seller had no representation, so I did everything that I could to get the best deal possible, and I don't feel bad about the fact that I feel like I stole that house. I got a fantastic deal on that house, and that's what I want for every client that we represent. So we maintain a database of for sale by owners. We pay for systems and software that populate data through all the different sources that a for sale by owner would list their home on, whether it's for salebyowner.com or Craigslist or limited service listings in the MLS. The bottom line is we maintain a database of for sale by owners so that we can offer that in addition to what's on the MLS. The second thing that we do is we maintain a database called pocket listings. A pocket listing is a seller that says, hey, I would sell my house if you had a buyer, but I do not want it marketed on the MLS, and it's not really for sale. I'll only sell it if you have a buyer. Now, if you're a buyer and you're represented by a real estate agent, you should be expecting that agent to do everything that they can to bring a deal to you, not just setting up a search in the MLS and waiting for those listings to go out and for you, the buyer, to contact the agent. There should be proactive effort on the agent's end to find you that deal. And that's something that we do, and it's something we've had tremendous success in. So we maintain those two databases for sale by owners and pocket listings. Both times, 90% of the time, those sellers will pay commissions to us, and it doesn't cost you anything. Now, I will say that there are some opportunities, and there have been instances where we brought a deal to the table and we said, hey, this is not on the MLS. It is not actively for sale. If you want to buy it, then you have to pay a 3% commission to us. That's our fee. Are you willing to do that? If the answer is yes, then we show them the property. We provide them with that opportunity that most people don't know about and most agents don't know about. And then it's a position that you're now in as a buyer where you have limited competition because it's not being marketed properly or at all in some cases. We've got plenty of people that have stuck a for sale by owner sign in their yard, and that is the only marketing that they're doing. So the only way that you as a buyer would find out about that is if you drove past that street and you saw that sign. It's not available online. So we maintain those databases. We make sure that if you're a buyer and you're looking for a property in the Tri-County area, that we provide you with every option available to find a home that fits your needs. And then, of course, we negotiate our butts off to get you the best deal possible. So if you think about that and you think about what I was talking about earlier, how there's this excess of buyers out there. Obviously, I'm not the only agent in our market in this position. I have several listings that we've sold where we have had dozens of showings in a few weeks. We've had dozens of buyers that have contacted us directly because they're interested in the property. And we sold them something, and now we're left with all of these buyers that are looking for properties to buy. So this is my message to you, the seller, because my buyer agents are hounding me to use this as a platform to help us find sellers for our buyers. If you're thinking about selling your house, please contact my team. It is very possible that we have a buyer for your house right now. And if you're thinking about moving, let us help you find that property that you're going to move into. Let us exhaust all of our resources to make sure that you're given every option available to move into something so that this whole transaction of selling and then buying makes sense. So if you have a home that you're considering selling, please contact us first. I'm begging you because we have buyers that are looking. We have agents that need to sell homes to buyers, and there's just not a lot of inventory out there. And we've got buyers from $100,000 to $5 million on the beach. So contact me. It doesn't matter what you're selling. Chances are high that we have a buyer for you. And we also have a database of 10,000 people that should know somebody that wants to buy it. So there's plenty of options out there if you're thinking about selling in terms of finding the right buyer for your house. So please contact me by calling 843-345-1273 or go to my website, input your information on the contact form, your name, your number, the best way to reach you, and your address, and I'll tell you very, very quickly whether or not I think your home is something that we have a buyer for. If you don't want to go through the trouble of listing and you want to just have a quick transaction, that might be your best bet. So again, listingsincharleston.com is the website to go to submit your information to see whether or not we have a buyer for you right now. And then let's work together to help you find another property that better suits your needs. So stick around because when we come back, I want to flip the table and I want to talk about sellers. What are they experiencing right now? What kind of behavior should they have in this market right now? So stick around. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA.
Have a real estate question? Ask Brian Beatty. Send him an email, lowcountryhomesales@gmail.com. The Brian Beatty Real Estate Show is on 1250 WTMA.
The Big Talker, WTMA.
You're listening to the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com.
Welcome back, Charleston, and thanks again for tuning in to the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. Been doing this for almost 3 years, I think. And I always like to take a little bit of time just to say thank you to those of you that tune into this program and use it as an opportunity to learn more about housing in our area. And for those of you, of course, that contact us with some sort of real estate need, whether it be answering a general knowledge question or putting you in touch with someone that can help you, whether it be a contractor or a lender if you want to refinance, or an attorney if you have some sort of real estate related issue. Bottom line is we're here to help, and I use this as a platform to reach people and educate them on the real estate market, and to also make sure that if you're thinking of buying, selling, or investing in real estate, that you're an informed consumer. You know what's going on if you listen to this program. So if there's anything that I can do for you, if you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate, please contact me. I'd love the opportunity to earn your business. And again, I've been in the top 1% of agents here since 2009. We've sold 110 homes already this year. And we're in the market in a very big way, and we'd love to help you out. So my number personally is 843-345-1273. Again, that's 843-345-1273. Call or text that number. Or you can go to my website, listingsincharleston.com, and you can look at everything I have for sale, everything I've sold, learn more about me, search every property for sale in the MLS here in Charleston. And if you're thinking about selling your house, which is what I want to talk about right now, click on the Sell Your Home tab. You can learn more about what I do to market my properties for sale and the success that I've had with that. And you can also learn more about my 59-day home sale guarantee. I'll sell your home in less than 2 months, or I'll sell it for half my commission. That's my commitment to you as your listing agent. So listingsincharleston.com is the website to go to for that. So we've been talking for the first half hour about buyers and the market for them. What's going on? What are they seeing? What should they expect? What should they expect out of the agent that they hire to help them buy a house? Well, let me flip the script here and let's talk about sellers for a minute. Let's talk about how sellers should be behaving in this market. What should they be doing? What should they not be doing? Should they be looking out for? And how are they going to get the best price possible for this market? How are you going to take advantage of it being a seller's market? Well, obviously, when you're in a seller's market and you have limited inventory, there aren't many homes for sale and there are an excess supply of buyers, the first thing that sellers do is they have a tendency to overprice their house. That's just natural. It's just what happens when we're in this kind of market. Now, depending upon the location, depending upon the price range, depending upon what I see happening as far as market trends are concerned in that particular sub-market of Charleston, in many cases, I'm okay with slightly overpricing a house because when you're in a rising market with rising prices, there always has to be a highest, newest sale in any given area. And of course, depending upon your condition and your upgrades, that's going to determine the price that we set. Of course, it's all based on your motivation to sell as well. Some people have to sell in 30 days. Some people don't care how long it takes as long as they get the price they want. So the first thing that sellers are doing in this market is they're overpricing their properties. In some cases, that's okay. In some cases, it's not. But what I want you to be watchful of if you're interviewing agents right now to sell your house is to make sure that if a seller suggests a price that seems high, that they back it up through market data. Now, obviously, if we're looking at everything that's sold over the past 6 months, and we had something that sold, think about it this way, if you can for a second. If we had a property similar to yours that sold 6 months ago, that property was put under contract about 2 months prior to that, and they were looking at comps for 6 months prior to that. So we have almost this year of lag time in market data when we're trying to determine fair market value for a house. So you have to adjust your price based on current market conditions. We also have to be cognizant of the idea that no matter what a buyer offers, assuming they get a mortgage, that the property has to appraise for that purchase price or more. So if you're listening to real estate agents talk with you about price and they suggest a price, make sure that the facts add up, because the worst thing that you could do is overprice your house initially by so much that you scare off buyers. As I was saying earlier, there are a plentiful number of buyers in this market. You'd be surprised at how many buyers are out there that are ready, willing, and able to buy a house. They just haven't found what they're looking for yet. But if you overprice your house so much so that you turn buyers off, you're going to really shoot yourself in the foot. And here's why. In the first 60 days of a listing, of just your average listing, that's when you get the most amount of showings. The reason why is you're essentially marketing to two groups of people. Group number one are those people that are ready, willing, and able to buy a house. They just haven't found what they're looking for yet. So they wait for new listings to hit the market, and they make an immediate decision to go and see that house or not, based on the condition, the location, the upgrades, the price, so on and so forth. If everything adds up, they're going to go and they're going to see your house. And by the time they get there, they've already determined that if everything looks as good in the house as it did online, then chances are very high you're going to receive an offer. So that's group number one. Group number two are the people that choose to enter the market every day. Something has changed in their lives. They got a new job. They're moving to the area. They had their kid graduate high school, and now it's time for them to downsize. They just had another kid, and now it's time to find more space. So that's group number two. Group number two is always in a cycle. There are people buying. There are people leaving the market. There are people entering the market. And so at about 60 days, that's when we start to see a slowdown in showings. We've exhausted group number one. They saw it online, and they either decided to come and see it, or they didn't for whatever reason. So my advice to you, the seller, is to be aggressive, but to also be aware of market conditions. Don't price yourself out of the market, because buyers are intelligent. Buyers are incredibly intelligent in this day and age because they have access to so much information. If you think about those websites like Zillow and Trulia and Realtor.com and all of these large nationally and internationally used websites, they offer more information than, in many cases, the MLS, because it's all right there. They talk about the price. They'll show you everything else for sale in that price range. They'll show you what's sold recently. They'll show you the pricing history. They'll show you taxes, school information, in some cases, crime information. It's incredible the amount of information that's out there for buyers. So don't think that buyers are going to be so enthralled with your property that you can set whatever price you want and think that the buyers are going to come and see it no matter what. If they don't agree with your value, and if they can't check all of their boxes on this home fits my needs and is priced accurately, then they're just not going to come and see it. And that's the bottom line. So we then have to recorrect, reduce the price, and with that comes a few issues. Buyers see a reduced price and say, oh, that seller might be desperate to sell. Let's go and see it, and let's offer them much less than what they're asking. Maybe there's some sort of situation there that we could take advantage of. Or that group of ready, willing, and able and buyers found something else. I have two sayings when it comes to marketing my listings for sale. Number one, I want my listing to be the prettiest girl at the dance. And I've said that a few times on this program already, but it's a very true and very applicable statement. I want my properties to look good, not just physically, not just the curb appeal on the inside of the house, but I take a lot of pride in the way that my listings appear online. I use professional photography for every listing. I use virtual tours. In some cases, I'll do a drone video. I'll do all kinds of things to make sure that we capture the interest of that buyer because the property looks interesting. It looks professionally presented, and it makes sense. We organize the photos in such a way that as they're clicking through the photos, it's almost like they're walking through the house. It always kind of irks me when I see listings where we've got front of the house and then the kitchen and then a bathroom and then a bedroom and then the family room and then the front of the house and then the back of the. You have to have everything make sense to a buyer. And I've spent years studying this kind of stuff. And in 2006, I was Entrepreneur of the Year at the College of Charleston for creating a real estate-based marketing company. So when we talk about how to market properties online, how to capture their interest and turn them from an online shopper into a prospective client, that's something that I understand very, very well. And it's something that you, the seller, need to understand and need to be educated about because of the way people search for real estate. We know that 70% of online traffic comes from mobile devices. So if I don't have websites or tools that caters to that type of internet search, then we're already shooting ourselves in the foot. So there's a lot more that I could talk about from a marketing perspective, but I want to get back to the tendencies that sellers have in this market. And so when I come back, I'm going to finish that conversation, and then we're going to touch for just a minute on investors and what's happening in that segment of our market. So stick around. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. Again, feel free to reach out to me if you have any real estate related questions or if I can help you in any way. Buy, sell, or invest in real estate. My number is 843-345-1273, and my website is listingsincharleston.com. We're going to take another break, and we'll be right back for the final segment of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show right here on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA.
Find Brian Beatty online at listingsincharleston.com. The Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues next on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA.
WTMA.
Now, the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues on Charleston's Big Talker, 1250 WTMA.
Welcome back to the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show as we finish our discussion on all things housing here in the Low Country. If you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate, or if you just like to stay up to date with what's going on in our market, this is a program designed to keep you informed and to help you be the type of buyer or seller that gets the better end of the deal. So if there's anything that I can do for you real estate related, whether it be answering a general knowledge question or putting you in touch with a contractor or helping you buy, sell, or invest in real estate, then please contact me personally. Again, I've been in the top 1% of agents here since 2009, and I've sold over 100 homes already this year. Would love the opportunity to work with you. So give me a call. My number is 843-345-1273, or you can go to my website, listingsincharleston.com, and on that site, you can look at everything we have for sale, everything we've sold. You can search the MLS, and you can also learn more about my 59-day home sale guarantee. If you want to sell your home, I'll sell it in less than 2 months, or I'll sell it for half my commitment. So that's my commitment to you if you're thinking about selling your home. Click on the Sell Your Home tab when you go to listingsincharleston.com. And if you're just joining us, I was talking earlier about all of these buyers that we're working with that need homes to buy. So if you're thinking about selling, send me your address. I'll look up the tax records, and I'll just tell you based on location, bedrooms, bathrooms, and square footage, whether or not I have a buyer for you. And we might be able to skip right to the finish line and bring you an immediate offer. So again, listingsincharleston.com is the website to go to submit your information if that's of any interest to you. And I know that our buyers would certainly appreciate that, as would the buyer agents on my team. So let me finish this conversation about sellers in this market. We've been talking a lot so far this program about buyers and how there are a plentiful number of buyers in our market, yet there are a reduced number of listings. I was talking some numbers earlier. We've had a 10% increase in new listings this year over last year, but we've had a 20% increase in closings. So that effectively reduces the inventory by 10%. So we have all these buyers looking for properties. We have sellers that are now in a position where through appreciation over the past several years, they can now sell their home for the price that they want or feel comfortable with, pay commissions, pay closing costs, and walk away with equity. We're not in that position we were in 2009, 2011, 2012, where almost every time I sit down with a seller, they don't have equity, they're underwater, and we have to talk about a short sale. The tables have turned. And so if you're a seller, I want to just mention a few more things before I talk to investors for just a second. I've told you that the sellers have a tendency to overprice their homes in this market, and that's just what happens when there's not a lot of supply out there. It's just economics 101. The less supply there is of something, the higher the demand is for something, the higher the price becomes. So if you're a seller, it's okay for you to overprice your house. And I know that sounds crazy for a real estate agent to say, but it all depends on your price range, your location, and what you are selling in comparison to the market. We've had plenty of success stories this year where we sold the property for more than, frankly, I thought we were going to get because the market supported it. So I think you'd be surprised at how much your home is worth given the appreciation we've seen over the past several years. So the second thing that I want to focus on for just a minute with sellers is to not be turned off too quickly by an initial offer by a buyer. You have to understand that buyers had it really good for a long period of time when our market was in the dumps. Okay. So they were making lowball offers and they were getting good deals on real estate. Well, those times have changed. That's not really the case anymore. But buyers in many instances are still acting and behaving that way because that's what they've been used to. That's what, they hear all these stories from their friends that say, I made them an offer for 30% below their asking price and we got it for 20% off their price. That very, very, very rarely happens. It almost never happens in this type of market. So if you're a seller and a buyer makes you an offer that's low, try as best you can to get over the offensive number that they'll bring you on that first offer. I've had sellers that have rejected offers against my advice because here's essentially how I look at it, okay? I don't really care where a buyer starts their offer as long as their offer ends at a price that my seller is willing to take to sell their house. And that's basically the script that I use with that agent. And I say something like, obviously that first offer that you made us was really low. There's no way the seller's going to take that offer. However, in good faith, the seller's going to reduce the price of their house by $1,000 to show you that they're willing to make you a deal. Having said that, your next offer needs to be a competitive offer. Otherwise, we're not going to play this game because we have no interest in selling the house for anywhere near what you offered. So your next offer has to be good enough to get the seller to continue this discussion. If you really want to buy the house, then give us your highest and best offer, because chances are high that we're going to have another buyer make you an offer while you're figuring out how much you want to pay for this house. So the next offer you make us has to be a good one. Otherwise, you're just going to appear to be an unmotivated buyer, and we're not interested in selling to an unmotivated buyer at a reduced price. So typically, that's what gets the ball rolling. And rather than rejecting an offer where you essentially have an interested seller and an interested buyer, but when you shut down the negotiations, both people are frustrated. It makes more sense to me to keep that conversation going, not give away your position. Don't show them your cards. It's a poker game, obviously. You're negotiating a deal, but give them just enough to say, all right, well, the seller's willing to negotiate here, but the agent that represents the buyer doesn't want to lose the deal. They want to earn a commission. The buyer clearly is interested enough in the property to want to buy it. So you just put them on notice and say, hey, your next offer has to be good. Otherwise, we're done talking. Okay. And usually that works. And we've had several homes that we've sold this year. I was looking at it the other day. I think we've had over 36 listings that we've sold in less than 2 weeks this year because of the fact that we've got reduced inventory. We've got more buyers. We're marketing our homes very well. We're finding those buyers fast, whether they're represented by other agents or we find them personally. But the bottom line is there are a ton of buyers out there for a reduced number of listings. And if you put that in front of the buyer agent and the buyer and say, hey, we know the market, we know what's going on, we know our house is worth X, then just don't play that game, but give them enough rope to essentially hang themselves. Let them come back to you and give them that good offer. So that's advice number 2. And then number 3, if you're a seller, don't put your home on the market until you have a good idea of where you're moving to next. I just told you that we had over 36 properties sell over the past 12 months where it sold in less than 2 weeks. And the majority of the time, those sellers know where they're moving to, but we have had a few instances where they've had to scramble because they didn't think the home was going to sell that fast. So one of the questions I always ask the seller is, hey, if we sold your house in 30 days or less, does that present a problem for you? If the answer is yes, then we need to hit the brakes for just a second and we need to come up with a plan to make sure that you know where you're going and we don't have to scramble and either overpay for a property or put you in temporary housing. Nobody wants to do that. I mean, I did that and it was awful. We bought a for sale by owner, and the only reason we agreed to do intermediary housing, a furnished rental, basically a corporate rental, was because we got such a good deal on the for sale by owner that we didn't care. I mean, we had almost a 20% difference between what we bought the property for and what it appraised for at closing. And so it made sense. And if you're that type of seller where if you get the price that you want, you're okay with doing a little bit of scrambling, then, more power to you. But I obviously am the type of agent where I want to make sure that the plan is in place. And I have never in my career, over 10 years of doing this and in working with almost 1,000 people, I have never made a person homeless, and I don't want to start now. So it all revolves around setting proper expectations, understanding the market, and then positioning yourself either through language in the contract or just a plan in general to make sure that everything runs smoothly. I think sellers, I know sellers are scared of the idea of selling their house and having nowhere to go. I'm telling you right now that there are buyers out there for your house if you consider putting your home on the market and you do the things you need to do to prepare it for sale and set a reasonable price. You will sell your house if the marketing's correct and if everything else adds up. I'm telling you right now that that's what our market is doing for sellers. It's selling their home in 30 days or less. My average days on market in the past 2 years is 38 days before we go under contract. And that's across the board. That's everything from the $100,000 property to the $1 million plus property. It's all about how you position your home and you come up with a plan to make sure that you're not in a guessing game and you're certainly not behind the 8 ball if you get that really good contract. So if there's anything that I can do to help you, please contact me. I can be reached at 843-345-1273. Or again, go to my website, listingsincharleston.com. Thanks again for listening, Charleston. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA.
Join us for another edition of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show next Saturday morning at 9 and Sunday morning at 10. Contact Brian Beatty online at listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Or call him at 843-345-1273. 843-345-1273.